opinion, couldn't that medical opinion be rendered while in China and sent to Nigeria?
Okay.
Why must it require their presence in Nigeria?
All right. Got your thoughts there. Let me move on now to Opakadokobo.
Let them go through the rigors.
All right.
I honestly would have loved to toe the line of Precious if this matter was something else, if it had nothing to do with life and death. We are talking about lives here.
A crisis, actually.
So, whatever life that is lost, you can never, there's nothing that you can do. It's irreplaceable. It is gone and it is gone. Now, if there's anything that you can do to save it, and I think that is what the entire world over is looking at. So it is not the time to begin to talk about right and wrong. It's not a time to insist on, it has to be this, this protocol has to be, this protocol has not got to be. I'm not sure any of these doctors will forgive themselves if, in the course of this, their own family member dies. Their family members won't forgive them. And I'm not sure they themselves will go and sleep well and say, yes, we defended our position, our association position, that nobody, it's not what it's going to be. So when it gets to this level and it has to do with life and death, I think everybody needs to, it wouldn't mind if you err on the side of caution. And I would think that NMA should look at it from that perspective. They are trained to save lives, not to grandstand. This is the same NMA who called their members out from strike because of this situation. Because they said, look, we know you have genuine cases. We know you are working under strenuous circumstances. We know how much your rights have been trampled upon. But because you are there to save lives, please go back to work. So, and I think it is also not, I wonder what it is really when you say, okay, we'll take your supplies, but we don't want you. Hey, why are you picking and choosing? If you're rejecting it, right, reject them wholesale. Reject their gift as well. Say, okay, we will take the equipment, but we will not have you doctors here. What are we talking about?
But do you think that their entry takes away whatever praise that we ought to give our medical team? Because
it doesn't take away nothing for me.
So, but if we're that comfortable with what the medical team has been doing on ground, so why do we need the Chinese doctors? If we want to give kudos, they've been fantastically well all along. So what are the Chinese doctors coming to do?
Annie, they say a stitch in time saves 9. We don't want to get to that point when, like America is doing, there was a time, I don't know how true, they said, look, if you are a medical personnel anywhere, just get to our embassy, make application and come down to US and help. We don't want to get to that point where we become panicky and everything has gone haywire. And then that's the time we begin to look for help elsewhere. If there's anything we can do now to ensure that we don't get ourselves into, and I think for me, that is what probably, it is from that angle the government is coming. Look, after all, we don't have, how many cases do we have in River State? Just 2 we've so far had. 1 has already been discharged. And yet you have, isolation centers of 200 and something, and more than that, more are still being built. Why are you doing all that? You don't want to get to that point where a crisis is on you. You have been put yourself in a tight corner, and that's what. And we are talking about lives. That's the bottom line. Whatever you can do to save it, please do, because the moment it is gone, it's gone. If these Chinese, by federal governments, whatever, by their own calculation, they must have looked at it and they just think, look, we need the expertise of these people. I'm not sure these people. They have come in, they will stay for 14 days quarantine, and then that can be sure that, yes, these people are safe. Then whatever knowledge or exchange of ideas that you have with them, it's okay. And I think there is something. Government won't just, for the fun of it, carry government. There are 15 people only. Is that what the doctors that will now go and treat everybody in Nigeria? 200 million people. It's not something that they themselves can do. So it is not, I do not see them taking over the jobs of our doctors. I do not see them taking the glory, the shine from our doctors if at the end of the day we're able to pull through. But honestly, as much help and as much help as we can have it, let's have it and have it in time. Let's not wait for time for us to now go ahead shopping for anybody anywhere, and then we are all at the end of the day, whatever people will lose. I mean, it gets on our conscience that if we had done this earlier. For me, for now, let enemy please think well.
All right, okay. Let me get to Dr. William Farugu.
For me, I think that the 15-man team of specialists or experts, medical experts, I mean, we don't need them in Nigeria. I'm looking at this from two angles. One, Annie, I think the message is that they came with aid of 1.2 million US dollars, 1.5 million US dollars. Mm-hmm. We have more than enough money donated by good, well-meaning Nigerians. Today on Channels TV, House of Reps member was asking if the Chinese are tying the aid of 1.5 million to a medical team. Let them go with the 1.5 million US dollars, their aid, and we will still contain this virus. National pride is at stake. If you want to give us a gift, don't tie it to something. Why are you bringing the Chinese? What new thing? What expertise they're bringing that we don't have?
Do they know that the Chinese have been going to other countries too? They've supplied aid and medical teams to Iran, Iraq, Italy, to Cambodia. I'm trying to remember several other countries that they've also gone with their medical aid.
Yes. And I agree.
The
situation
is
worse there.
I'm saying we're talking about medical. You know, it's because he stated something about national pride.
Yes.
So I'm just trying to wonder.
No. But that's what I'm saying. You need to look at it. The Italians needed them. We don't need them.
I know, that's what I'm saying. If it's national pride,
when they went to Italy, whether
is a point of need or not, when it comes to national pride, are we saying that the Iranians who accepted the team don't have national pride?
The
Iraqis don't need it. Cambodians don't have national pride.
Was worse there. See, listen.
That's what I'm saying. Don't bring national pride to the equation there, because countries receive them, whether or not the equation.
They needed it. The Italians asked for it, and they got it. But the question is, how did the team, the experts from China, did they change anything in Italy? No. And then on the point of law, this one is just on point of morality and all of that. On the point of law, what the federal government is trying to do is something they cannot do by law. It is illegal. It is against the provisions of the MDCN Act. You cannot practice medicine in Nigeria when you are not licensed to so do. If as a Nigerian medical doctor, even if you're a consultant and you want to go to UK and practice, you must go through an exam called PLAB. If you want to go to the United States and you want to practice medicine, you must pass an exam.
So do you consider this practicing of medicine when they come with aid? We understand that, yes, if you want to practice in a country, that yes, you have to go through the rudiments. Yes. I think that's acceptable. But would you call when people come with aid and say, look, we want to help you with what you're doing here. We'll work with your team. We'll help you stave off whatever issues you have. When we're done, in a couple of weeks, we pack our bags and we return to where we come from. Hold on. Would you consider that practicing?
Yes, they're practicing medicine.
All right.
Okay.
They do.
Okay.
Emmanuel, you want to say something?
It's illegal.
No.
It's against the law. This is not a banana republic. This is the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
I've seen where
they can issue them a waiver. They can issue them a waiver. But until the waiver is issued,
who is issuing the waiver?
Until the waiver is
issuing the waiver?
It's MDCN.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. And as we talk now, I'm not sure that there's an MDCN board constituted to issue that waiver.
Let him finish.
We have seen where government will engage their military personnel with others to combat a certain issue and say, oh, come into our country, they're not looking at that time at the sovereignty of their country. They're not looking at the fact that for them to have this military intelligence from another nation come and aid them, that they're availing to them certain information that perhaps prior to that they wouldn't want to share. But because there is an issue on ground that needs to be tackled, they need the expertise of these particular military personnel coming from other nations. This happens. And we don't hear, oh, you can't come here and practice, or you can't come here and be a security personnel in that sort of manner if you've not gone through the rudiments of what we have in place here. It happens all along. So when it comes to medicine, I'm still finding what that uniqueness is, where we say, oh, with this, you cannot practice medicine. And they see this as a practice, that you have come to assist us in dealing with this issue, and they call it, practicing. We've seen doctors who through technology will tap into another surgery going on in another country. So it's pretty much like they did it. It's just that they're physically not there. But while they're here, they're telling the doctors, no, cut to the left. I can see what you're doing on the screen now. It pretty much, you can see the surgery was done by this other expert on that side, right? The person did not come to your country now to take certain laws and rules before they even allowed him access to the patient's history, or allowed them have access to what's ailing the patient before they dealt with that. In that case, nobody was talking about passing examinations. So I'm wondering, at what point is the lines blurred, or at what point are the lines clear cut? Because I'm missing it.
For you to practice medicine in Nigeria, for you to be called a medical doctor in Nigeria, for you to practice...
They don't want to be called medical doctors
No.
in Nigeria.
For you to practice, to do the work of a medical doctor, for you to do the work of a med lab scientist, for you to do the work of a psychologist, for you to do the work of a pharmacist in Nigeria, you must be licensed under our laws to so do.
All right. Okay.
If you are not licensed under our laws, you must be issued with a waiver. Until they are issued with a waiver, you cannot buy a fiat from one man saying that, see, because they are coming with aid of 1.5 million US dollars, we must.
They haven't said it's because of the aid. I doubt if they
No,
said
because the question is, because we said bring the aid and keep your people. They said that the aid is tied with the
they
doctors.
haven't told you. No, don't add that part. Don't add that part. Nobody has said so yet. Nobody has said so, Dr. Aruko. All right, then, Emmanuel.
For me, I think law or legal education is meant for a living man.
Thank you.
You don't put law for a corpse. Now, this is the time of emergency that is ravaging the entire world. That the United States, for instance, didn't say, China, help us, doesn't mean Nigeria that doesn't know his left from right.
No, I take a strong assumption to that. No, I take a strong assumption to that.
Please allow
our medical doctors are some of the best in the world.
Please allow me to finish my own, then you counter it. Nigeria, you can't rank Nigeria at the status of America. No, you can't. Medically or anything at all. Scientifically. But what I want to tell you is that NMA is only trying to protect its own territory. Yes. These people are not coming to practice in Nigeria as medical doctors. What they have done, let me give you an instance.
What are they coming to do?
They come for aid. They are aiding. Hold on, please. Now, you know that whether during war or whatever about crisis, you see Red Cross qualified doctors flown from whichever country to another country, and they come in to aid. Do they go through the rigors of education of that country before they help? You will see them even perform operations, everything at all about making sure that they cure that individual.
Okay.
And they now said, please, you must go through our education, or don't those countries that perform this kind of thing have legal tone?
Okay, man, let me.
So for me, I think NMA should forget about that because they should help them. It doesn't make them
NMA says we will not interact. You've brought them back. Okay, we will not interact. They should be there. We'll be here. I wonder how
now, what about their Hippocratic code?
It doesn't matter. No Hippocratic code here, please.
We're looking
at regulations. Regulations here.
I think
Hippocratic code takes the back seat when it comes to this.
I think I should add the fact that the Nigerian situation has not degenerated into...
You were waiting for it to degenerate. That's my problem with your own now.
Are you not looking at our curve? Are you not looking at our own curve?
It will not even degenerate because we have the competence
Your
to manage.
your curve is spiking. If that's yours,
No, it is not.
It is.
It is
Your
not.
curve
Look
is
at our
spiking.
curve.
Yes, now you're getting more people
No,
every day.
we are
Yesterday, we did have
almost
22 in a day.
We are
As of
almost
today, we have
discharge.
22 people.
Discharge.
we are
Your
almost
curve is
at the
rising.
peak. We are almost at the peak. How many have we lost?
Every day can
Yes,
almost
we are
be
almost
at the peak. Every day can be almost at the peak. Be careful.
But I asked
Look
you a
at
question.
the
The Red Cross people, do they go through examination, the medical examination?
You cannot
See,
say
I
that.
would.
That one is
I
even
agree.
full-blown war.
I agree that.
Oh,
I agree.
it's a crisis.
Exactly.
I agree that if you look this what is happening in other nations,
It's a crisis.
with what's happening in other nations, we haven't gotten to that point. You know, the crisis hasn't got to the point where it's so terrible. Yes, thank God for that. But again, like some of the guests here have said, should we wait till we get to that point? Should we wait? Hold on. Should we wait till the crisis is unbearable before we now start seeking help from people who have there? And again, I'm looking at when we say we want aid from these Chinese doctors. I don't think that what we're saying is that they come and direct us as to what to do. I think it's supposed to be some sort of relationship, and that if they're able to give us some expert knowledge on what they know about that and show us how to do it, then what is there? It's not so much of a big deal if you look at it. My only fear is that this is coming from China, and if you're going by a lot of the conspiracy theories that have been going on, you want to watch these people extra closely.
Good.
That's the only thing I
That's just
have.
the
I
only
mean, if this
thing.
were coming from Italians, or if this was coming from United States doctors, or if this was coming from, I probably wouldn't have that thought. But with Chinese doctors coming in, Chinese doctors, okay, quarantine them, check their instruments, check whatever they're going to
they are
use,
better off.
check the aid they brought, the medical aids they brought, to make sure that none of them have COVID-19 in it. Yeah, check all of that as far as I'm concerned. But when it comes to the fact that they're here to just offer help, what can I do for you? Where can I be of assistance? Then we say no, you have to have clearance from our medical team here, and then have examinations, and then by then there is 1 month not over.
Let me quickly say that if they had come with intention to inflict more injury on us, all those that were quarantined this, quarantine that on them cannot help because they are more superior. But first, I have been asking,
More superior how?
technically,
Arabu doesn't want to hear this.
With technological wise, yes.
Technologically and all that.
They've dusted us right
yes, they
back.
know how to come in with it if they want to. But
Technologically wise, you're not even close to them. So
What
let's
I'm trying to
not
say
even go there.
if we say this
He
Chinese,
doesn't want to hear something.
Sovereignty of Nigeria.
if we say these Chinese doctors have come in to render any
Yes.
kind of expertise services, I would want to know what. Are they coming now to teach us how to treat infected patients? No, I'm coming. We are putting it side by side. I will bow to superior knowledge where there's any.
Okay.
I would want to know. We have treated our patients. We have discharged a good number of them.
44 of them.
No one patient has died as a result of our inability to treat them. We've had high-profile personalities in Nigeria who have also been discharged. As of today, we have isolation centers. We are ready to even surmount any emergency. And now we've brought in the Chinese. They brought in the equipment. I welcome the equipment. But to say they have come to... for the
Equipment is good. Personnel, no.
I don't eat rat, but I eat this.
I welcome the equipment because even the US is struggling to produce more ventilators now.
Can you imagine?
So I welcome the equipment. But to now bring in people to say they are coming to now teach our doctors, or they are coming to interface with our
I didn't
doctors.
say
What
teach.
I'm saying,
I don't like
I imported the word teach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because whatever they are coming to, whatever knowledge or note they are coming to compare with our doctors can be done without them coming directly into Nigeria. So if you now tell me that they are coming to Nigeria without having to practice medicine in Nigeria, what have they come to do? The federal government has the responsibility to tell us in specifics what they've come to do in Nigeria. Until we know exactly what they've come in to do, then we can now know how to appropriately appraise their presence.
They're coming to Nigeria because the aid is tied to the medical
And
doctors
that's my
coming
worry.
to Nigeria.
And that's my worry.
No.
I agree
I don't know why
No.
you don't want to
I am
see
tempted
this.
to
It's
agree
not
with you.
attached to
I
the
am
the
tempted to
aid.
agree.
Is
The
not
aid is tied to the
when
doctors
you
coming.
when
Yes.
hold on, without you substantiated theories. Where did you get that from?
No, but that's the truth.
No,
And do you know that?
who made it the
Even
truth?
this
Question.
rate,
I
even
didn't
the
say
one
you
that
said-
borrowed to
Who
us.
made
I
that-
said,
They've never
I
made
said
that the
today
truth?
on Channels TV,
Huh?
a member of the House of Reps said that they're coming with aid of 1.5 million and they've tied the aid.
So the House of
with-
Reps
yes,
has said
even
that
to
it's-
somebody in
hold on.
government.
No,
China gives to us.
That's
Yes,
not somebody in
the
government.
aid is tied.
That
always
is
tied to
somebody.
something.
That is somebody.
Chinese aid
Why
is
do you
always
want me?
tied to
Why do you
something.
want me to believe a House of Reps member? What is the? What is? Who is he? What is this?
I'm talking to somebody speaking from the
I have
corridors
no
of power.
It's okay.
House of Reps member.
A House of Representatives. So because
Who may not even have gone to school. Why are you talking like
No,
this?
no.
does he receive better
No,
than
no,
you?
I don't know the person. Honestly, I don't know the person.
And I-
But I believe it is not because he's an health. We're talking about if an expert is talking, if somebody who should be in the know is talking, not just an expert, a politician who is there to leave that one.
But he has access
What
to
House of
superior
Reps
funds.
member?
Yes.
He sits in a vintage position.
See, it's possible.
my
So
God.
hold on.
I am not-
It's possible he's sitting on a chair where he can see further than some of us.
Around the
But
world,
that
even.
doesn't mean that he has seen what he has seen. So we're just basing this on
And
possibilities,
wow, these doctors
and that's what I'm
come to
saying.
say
As long as there are possibilities, it doesn't make them factual. And that's why I said
Yes.
so. Dr. Arugu, so this is not factual. So we do not know for sure that they have said unless you take our doctors, we're not giving aids. We don't know that. Whether some House of Rep member is saying it doesn't make it factual. Now the point here, and I want us to understand that, is the conversation should lie on what should be adjourned as practice. Because yes, I agree. If you're coming here to be a medical doctor, yes, go through the procedures we have here.
Yeah.
Now, if you're not
Because
coming to
you're coming
Nigeria,
for
if you're
practice.
not coming here to practice and you want to just offer aid, now should that require that you go through that same
And, but
conversation?
you
That
know-
is pretty
you know,
much what
let
this
me- let me
conversation
add
is
that,
about.
Ordinarily, what we are talking about here is a professional thing. If the Nigerian Medical Association has seen the need to have foreign doctors come into Nigeria for specific purposes, they will demand for such.
Wonderful.
I'm telling you. Because even in the military, there are what the military example Annie cited.
Yes.
There are times when you say our military will say we need to engage also our neighbors to help us.
We need US intelligence to
Yeah.
help us see how we
Now,
can get the
let me
Chibo
say,
girls.
What is you say you don't believe politicians, but do you know that it was a politician who sat and said Chinese should come? What gave records to the invitation of the Chinese in the first place?
Yes, because
See,
of the
wait,
performances
wait.
when they had it.
Who?
There are politicians and there are politicians. If you say the,
because
the,
of
mini-
the-
the minister of health,
I thought you made a blanket statement.
no wait,
By his definition.
Yes.
the minister of health, as we, I didn't make it blanket statement. I said this particular one. We had a
You
lot of
don't
politicians
even know the
that have not even
politician.
gone to school,
But it's true now.
and they're there.
It's true.
Many of them.
It's not just politicians.
See,
said you.
The minister of health is a politician, but we also do know that he is a professional,
Yeah.
an expert in his field. So if that person, if the minister of health is speaking to me, I wouldn't see him as strictly a politician, even though he is a politician. But there are subject matters that he can handle that I will take that an expert has spoken to me.
All right.
So, see, what
People are taking my time for real
No,
talk.
the
But
question
they've
I want to
not been
ask
able
is
to answer
the question.
the
The question.
Red Cross.
Annie, the question I want to ask is
They
this.
don't answer that.
What I want,
Practice,
what I want,
practice.
Doctor and
Precious UDK.
Precious UK to answer for me is this: what possible reason do you think the Nigerian government, the federal government,
They want to infect the people.
To come and kill or reduce the population.
what is the possible thing that you think we have been the reason?
Why they allow them come?
Yes, why they are
I have
asking
given you
them.
the reason.
What
The
is
reason
that?
why they allow them come is because they need the aid.
So don't we need the
Don't
aid?
we
Even
need the
NMA
aid?
says we need the aid.
Don't
Even
we
the
need-
NMA says yes.
So
we
if
need
the
the
man
aid.
says he's not giving us the aid without their doctors tied to the
Don't
aid,
we need the aid? You say you want the aid.
if the man says they are not giving us the aid without their doctors tied to the aid, Nigerians have donated a lot of money.
Dr. Arogo,
Yeah,
can
we
you
can-
quote
Take part of the money and procure these things.
Precious?
Alright,
Can you
then.
quote law for a corpse?
It's okay. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Precious UDK, Opaka Dokubo, Dr. Arugu. Thank you so much. We've had a very robust conversation on this. Thankfully, none of us is enemy. So they were pretty much just our observations on the issue. Enemy's stand here and position is still that they will not interact with the Chinese doctors. And they said unless after after being quarantined, they undergo the requisite examinations that are provided before you can practice practice medicine in Nigeria. Until that is done, before they're able to interact with the Chinese doctors. They particularly said that they were not consulted before this action was taken.
Which I frown upon.
So, all right, that done and said, I have a few minutes. I don't know. And, the issue for Real Talk is really extensive, but we'll do what we can to see if we can take that. Do stay with us. Don't go anywhere. But
it is the head that is supposed to push the followers.
Today 95.1 FM, we bring you insights, intrigues, and happenings on the local politics of the Niger Delta.
But if that property you have somewhere worth that 1 billion is tied to a fraud of state money, if you can prove it's your personal money, you didn't commit any crime.
Join us every weekday, 9:45 a.m. to 11 a.m. Real Talk, keeping it real.
All right, let's move on. So somebody just joined us and he said he came with problem and we are equal to the tax. We will deal with any dealables. In fact, did you pass our laws before you came inside?
Yeah, don't even read it.
I'm a professional.
No. You didn't pass our laws. There's a law we have in the studio. No, there's a law in our studio. I did not pass it.
I did. Williams.
Okay.
I'm a public analyst, I'm a journalist, and a frontline educationist.
So with NMA and the Chinese doctors, what's your position?
I think it's a slight on the entire Nigeria. The first problem is, at this point, all of us should speak in one voice. What the enemy is saying.
Your voice. Let me speak.
No, it's my view. This is what keeps us where we are today.
I don't agree with you, sir. How can you say because?
I'm not saying you should agree.
Exactly, that's speaking in one voice now. I agree with you in one voice.
You are intimidating
Speak
me.
your voice, let me speak yours. Like he likes to say, if you have superior arguments.
I'm not even, whether it is superior or inferior, I'm not talking about that. I just want you to hear me. I have the right to be heard.
Please, that's why I gave you a mic. That's why I gave you a mic. Go ahead.
NEPA will take light and bring it at will. We celebrate them and we pay the amount they impose on us. We are not complaining. That's bad. Chinese government had discussed with 12 quarters of the government and they are coming.
They've arrived.
Oh, they have even come.
They've arrived.
When
yesterday.
Wuhan was in lockdown for 8 weeks, they're trying to solve their own problem. Okay. I'm married to Annie, for example, and we have our children, we have our problem. We're solving it small. Yes, you are superior, you are higher, you are more advanced and all that. And I've not called for aid or help from you. You came through my uncle and you're imposing it on me. I said, okay, just hold on. Even if you're going to bring aid, let's discuss. Can't we discuss internally and then agree? So, okay, I beg, help us. This is how they do it. If those aids don't
come. But enemy is not saying we want to discuss. So enemy is saying we will not.
No, because of the slide. It's history.
So
they have already allowed
it's
a bad
ego
history.
that is the problem.
No, it's not ego.
See, anything goes wrong in Nigeria, it's not enemy that is responsible. It is the government.
Exactly. I agree with you. Yes. So we're talking to the government and say, look, this is who you are forcing on us to dialogue, to work with. We don't even know them. We don't know their competency. Okay, our exams will just take 2 hours. It's not a 1 month thing like Annie is saying. We bring the papers and
no,
we
they'll
go
be
to
quarantined for 14 days.
No. It's after we have tested them. We have not even talked about testing them first to ascertain their state of health.
That's why I said they need to be quarantined for 14 days.
No, you don't quarantine first. As you arrive, we test you. What are we quarantining for? The test they have to do. See, there's a sequence. Anywhere you go to.
I think what they mean by the 14 days is that as they come in, they're not going to allow. Yes, they're not going to allow them into.
They're not coming in.
That's what I'm saying. By that statement, 14 days. they'll keep them isolated.
14 days
Obviously,
to do what? No, we
carry
can't
on
keep them.
tests.
We are not going to allow them on
Obviously,
our climb for 14 days.
They will, hold on.
I'll take you to court.
Hold on. I hope you know that if you keep them for 14 days here now, and the test results don't come out before that, and you say, oh, we don't keep them for 14 days, let them go out, that it's a bigger risk.
No, you are even going the wrong way. You're doing the wrong. Sorry, you are doing the wrong thing properly. Somebody comes. The first thing I don't want to ascertain first whether it's even deserving of the test or is clean.
My point here is that your tests that you're saying, they don't come back on one like under 1 day.
No, you can do it in 4 days. It's a sample.
That's what I'm saying now. So the 14 days,
14 days.
The 14 days quarantine, and I'm trying to say here, I don't think that means that if they run tests and they come out negative, that they still have to stay the 14 days. But it is just statute that you
let's not even go
the
to quarantine yet. Of course, you test a candidate and see where he's faulting before you know what is.
They can arrive when at the stage where the symptoms may not be detected by whatever they are testing. So that is why they need to be quarantined. If an expiration of 14 days, the symptoms would have developed that if they test, the test will be.
Anyway, let's quickly hear your thoughts.
Well, the first thing should be done first. If we have test kits that are efficient enough, it doesn't take a whole year.
I like the qualification that are efficient enough.
Efficient test kits.
It's alright.
Do you understand? And if the Chinese are going to give us, we should also test those equipment before we put them to use.
They have superior
superior what? In their environment, they are superior. They can't compete with us. Whether in football, in boxing, let them come.
No, don't even go there.
I'm telling you, we are not.
We're talking about technology. We're not talking about football.
In spite of our bad,
you said technology.
Sorry, Annie. In spite of our bad leadership, I can compete with the Chinese man
in my
own area. In my own area.
We're talking about technology here now, not area.
Madam, what is technology? Technology is what I apply to solve a problem.
They are building your rail. You didn't build anything.
Okay.
You were not doing anything.
They are doing business.
Even your road.
We can do it. An Igbo man will do your rail. If you give him the permission. If you give him the support.
No, he doesn't have the technical
it's not
knowledge.
True.
We
I'm
see,
telling you,
we see the local ones that are building roads here. What have they done?
It's not true. It's a
we
compromise.
See the local. What compromise? That's the same thing too.
The
same compromise we see with the man we give to do the bridge.
We can
the
build our rail.
We don't trust our own.
We can.
You can't trust it because over and over.
China, to hell.
Because over and over.
Thank you.
Over
Japan. I agree with you.
We can
completely.
Open bid and give them terms and conditions. Don't even pay completely for the contract. They will install a rail, pay them over 10-year period, and you test efficiency of their job. Let's not see how.
When we bring,
well, that's by the way.
That's
we can't build a rail. What's the rail?
Alright, we got thank you. Let's move on to real talk. Real talk now. We're looking at Calverton helicopters. It does seem as if the issues are getting deeper. Here we have the aviation sector in River State has said the aviation sector in River State may be worse for it if the state government fails to release the 2 pilots of Calverton helicopters. This is because Air Operators of Nigeria has threatened to stop all flights operations to River State for 3 months if the remanded pilots of Calverton helicopters are not released by Governor Nyesom Wike. Airline operators in Nigeria, in a statement, condemned the action of the state government, which they considered very unlawful in the face of the fact that the airline had secured all necessary approvals from the Ministry of Aviation and the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority for the flights in line with the protocols of exemption of essential flights as issued by the federal government. AON, in a statement signed by its chairman, Captain Oge Megasin, frowned at the action and demanded the immediate and unconditional release of the 2 pilots with all purported charges dropped so that they can go back to their families for Easter holidays and return to their jobs. Megasin, however, threatened that if the River State government fails to release the pilots within 24 hours, all airlines in the country will be forced to boycott all scheduled and unscheduled commercial and private flight operations, including oil and gas offshore flight services, into Port Harcourt for a period of 3 months. Well, Governor Nyesom Wike has declared the shutdown of Calverton. In his address yesterday, he said actions of Calverton helicopters was highly insensitive and provocative and took place in the midst of credible intelligence reports about plans of those he termed enemies of the state to traffic carriers of the dreaded coronavirus into River State. He's gone ahead to ask local government chairman to shut down all offices of Calverton helicopters in their domain. He says if Calverton insists to do business with River State, they do so at their own risk, as he has already ordered all local government chairmen to stop them from working. So if they come in, whatever they see, they see. The aviation minister has come up to condemn the actions and has also asked for the immediate release of the 2 pilots. He says that this was done in a manner that is untoward, as the helicopter operators had received the requisite exemptions that they needed to carry on with the activities that they have been doing so far. and he's also asked that the pilots be released. He's also, in the same vein, condemned the actions of the chain of security commands here in Rivers State. He says they had was an act of insubordination to the president, who is the commander-in-chief. All right, Emmanuel, let me get your position on all of this.
Well, you see, for me, I yesterday I agreed that the governor did well in terms of halting people coming into the states and all that. But I also said that the speed of light applied in taking these people to prison and then saying that they will come for deliberations of their decision by May is what I do not understand. I personally do not understand, because I expected that as they have reached the court and the documents were produced, I want to believe that diplomacy should take off then than muscle flexing, because that's what it's amounting to now. To the point that you are now closed their offices. And they said, what the area that also irks me in the whole thing is that they are persona non grata. I don't understand. Now, why I don't understand is simply, first of all, they are Nigerians. I doubt even if the president himself will say that these people are persona non grata, because they are Nigerians. Are you saying that the state has the power to ban maybe people, or even people who are not from that state, and say no? Are they not Nigerians?
Perhaps a certain business, maybe not the people, but the business.
That's what I'm. Even if the business, before the business, the human first is a citizen of Nigeria. Now, what I want to ask is that I do not know, as I'm I'm known not to be a lawyer. Maybe there's a code of law that guarantees that the governor could declare somebody persona non grata, as this issue is. If that happens, then the governor still has a right to do so. But if there is none, is a pain. The way he's taking Rivers State, the image it will bring to Rivers State. I agree that the governor has every right to make sure that people that come into the state, for instance, are screened. And I keep on saying, once these people who said they wrote to the governor, they should have received a report or a response from the governor before they came into the state, but they didn't. So the way the governor is taking it, the way I look at it, is like two wrongs now trying to make a right. The federal authorities who have come in to say, even the Minister of Aviation, that they are usurping the position of the President of the nation. Did federal government also inform Rivers State that these people have been exempted? Because I know now.
But those people, it did say they've been flying for 7 days now, so it was not.
No, I agree. But what have they flown into Rivers State? Perhaps the very first time they see what happened to them. So I think it would have been nice for federal government, who also has given the authority to say, to make it known to all the states, relevant states, that see, these ones are exempted. They make up these essential services. But I don't know whether such happened or not. Because if such happens, I think Rivers State should obey.
Anyway, that is a different. Let's move on to the new development. New development here says aviation operations says, look, if you don't release these guys for 3 months, we will not fly into River State. And Governor Nyesom Wike has also said, look, Coverton, you cannot operate in River State anymore. Minister of Aviation has said, look, for the command chain, you have usurped the authority of the president.
Okay. For me, the people are writing. Of course, they've said release our people. They said no. And it's just exactly what will happen if they don't come. This is what Rivers State will reap from the whole thing.
All right.
And as for the governor, he has made a pronouncement. But where the pronouncement will take Rivers State to, we are yet to see.
Okay, got your thoughts there. Precious, you, DK?
You see, there are different phases to this discourse. The governor is a lawyer, and he has an attorney general that I respect very well. The truth is that legally, the governor does not have the power to do what he's doing. We must learn how to tell ourselves the truth. We must learn how to own up to the truth, no matter whose us is God. The governor does not have the power to do what he's doing. Quarantine and its attendant issues is in the exclusive list of the 1999 Constitution. In fact, it is item 84 on the exclusive list. of the 1999 Constitution. Now, if you now look at it, and we should know that when an item is in the exclusive list of the 1999 Constitution, the governor of a state or even the State House of Assembly does not have the power to legislate on it one way or the other. We also have aviation. I know there are lawyers who are also listening to me. Let them contradict me. We also have aviation that is in the exclusive list of the 1999 Constitution, which bars the governor of any state from making regulations, laws, bylaws, whatever name so called, on those items and issues. So, for God's sake, where did the governor of Rivers State derive the power?
Well, he did say that, yes, I can't stop the flights from coming in, but I can stop them from coming into River State. Because I don't have the power to stop flights, but I have the power to regulate who comes into River State and who doesn't.
Well, if you say you have the power to regulate who comes into River State, I will interpret that to be limited to only the power he has with respect to the 1999 Constitution. Because if you have the power to regulate an item, then you have the power to stop people from coming in or out. But if you don't have the power to, in the first place, regulate aviation, the governor of Rivers State cannot stop any flight from coming into Rivers State. He has already conceded to that. Now, if you cannot stop any flight from coming into Rivers State, what is now giving him the impetus to declare a particular flight persona non grata in Rivers State? You see, when I come here every day and I talk about Nigeria practicing true federalism, we are definitely coming back to that. If we had been practicing true federalism in each true state, these issues would not have been here. First, the president has made an order pursuant to the Quarantine Act, and that order is applicable to the entire country. If the governor of Rivers State is arguing that he is not aware that there was a waiver granted caveating helicopter, what now happens 24 hours after learning, after caveating helicopters came to say we have waivers, he declared persona non grata. I said there are different spheres to this discourse. We have the political angle to it, we have the legal angle to it, we have the economic angle to it. The legal angle to it is that the governor of Rivers State does not have the power to legislate, to give orders with respect to quarantine and whatever attendant to it. Now you look at the political angle to it. We are pundits here, and we are praising actions and inactions of the subject matter you've introduced. The political angle to it, we have a governor of Rivers State who had non-means towards in coming to say the federal government is sabotaging our efforts. The federal government has not helped us. The federal government has given Lagos State government 10 billion naira. We are all federating units. One state is equal, no one state is superior to the other. Let the government also give us. And the government, in that same broadcast, the governor of Rivers State also said that the Rivers State is a economic hub of Nigeria, producing the oil and gas that we are using to generate resources for the country. That the federal government does not want to assist them monetarily. Now we have these expatriates who, caveating helicopters, flew into Port Harcourt, as was explained, for the purpose of drilling oil or what. The government of Rivers State is feeling that if you cannot, I should think anyway, it's my thoughts for them, I should think that if federal government cannot support us monetarily, what right do they now have to come and be drilling oil? Let us shut them down. But economically, it is a negative omen for Rivers State.
All right. So, what do you think about the aviation workers who says, "Look, if you don't release these people, we will not work. Flights wouldn't come into Port Harcourt for the next 3 months."
That is the economic part of what I'm saying. It will affect Rivers State negatively because we are generating tax. They are paying tax to government. They are doing all that. It will affect us negatively. We must not take long-term decisions in short-term basis. Now we are talking about COVID-19. We are praying God that COVID-19 should not last beyond 2-3 months. One-time decisions just to massage our short-term ego. I condemn that. Right. Let the governor of Rivers State open up on these COVID-19 issues.
All right. Okay. I got your thoughts there. And so did the rest of us.
And you see, we're talking about air rights. Well, I don't know whether all of us are sensitive to the fact that we have a situation on our hands. And if each time you look at the television and you look at certain stations, for me as a person, I don't know, I've not checked my BP for a while, but I'm wondering what will be going inside of me. Because the situation for me is really frightening. River State shut its borders, just as many other states have done. Assuming these people didn't fly and they were to come through by road, what would happen?
They'll come in.
Would you just take your convoy and drive through without anybody?
The ones that are coming in, what's happened to them?
A lot of people are coming.
No, wait. A lot of people may be coming in. They may have their ways of getting in. I don't know. But what I do know is that as we speak, there ought to be all our borders ought to be shut. And for those who are probably coming in, also have the way of talking with whoever to get access, assuming there's anybody like that.
Oh yes,
in.
they are. I can tell you categorically, they are plenty.
Exactly. So what it means is that there is no way you are going to force yourself in without interacting with somebody somewhere. Now, if you are going to come in such a manner that in such a maybe a profile and you want to move in, and you are like, you must get clearance from somebody to be able to get in. And I think that is where the problem is. But the problem is here. The federal government should have appropriately, you are going to get through this, and you know this situation is prevalent in that particular place. There will be nothing wrong for the federal government to say, look, we are going to come here, get this waiver from this state, and then it is done. Or to burp in, because you have the might, it's air, you have the authority, and you have come. When you land, what happens? These people will move by road, isn't it? After they land there, they probably have to move from there or to lift to. Well, you have come into an enclosure. And I think to that extent, it is not right. If we say we are federating units, we should respect each other's spaces. We should give each other their regards. And then it becomes easy for the relationship to smoothen, and then we move on as a people. But to continue to undermine and disregard ourselves the way we do sometimes, it's really not the best. But having said that, I would also think that this has happened. These people have behaved this way they have behaved. The governor has a reason to be angry. He's passionate about keeping River State safe, keeping Rivers people, keeping them away from COVID-19. And he's putting its very best, putting all efforts and all resources to ensure that is achieved. And therefore, if anybody is doing anything from any quarters to undermine whatever efforts he's making, he has a reason to be angry. But having done so, for me, I would expect that having expressed his anger, I think it would also be good to now come down and say, in this situation, what is the way forward? Handle the matter diplomatically. So that at the end of the day, this standoff that we're going to see does not come to compound and complicate matters. Issues that you're trying to solve now probably get a new turn, and then we get into another something that probably would have been resolved amicably, will now get into another kind of a crisis. If these people, if operators say they're not going to work, they're shutting down, I'm not sure that would be good for anybody, not even for the governor himself, because that would mean you can't fly out, you can't come in. And whether COVID-19 leaves us or not, it means it's a situation that will hurt us really badly. So these are some of the things sometimes why you probably would sometimes, no matter how angry you are, you restrain yourself and say, okay, let us get this matter done with. So for me, at this point, I would expect all sides to mellow, come down to the negotiation table,
all right,
listen to yourselves, admit where you've gone wrong. Let the federal government also be humble enough to come down to say, yes, we are sorry, we should have informed you, we didn't. And the matter will be over.
And River State can start by saying, okay, I've released the 2 pilots. Can we talk about this?
Yeah. Yes, it's something that is doable.
Okay. Dr. Arugu, let me get your thoughts. I can open the phone lines quickly.
The issues raised here are very serious issues, grave, and they touch the root of our existence as a nation, the root of our existence as a people, our constitution. The question is, can the governor of a state declare somebody a persona non grata? No, he cannot do that. He doesn't have the powers to so do, because it can only do that. I teach international law and diplomacy in the university, so I know that. The governor cannot do that. You can only do that in international diplomacy to a foreigner who is not needed in your own home country. That's where the word, is derived from. And then my friend and colleague Precious has actually explained the scope of the powers of the state. Can the governor of a state do what Wiki has done? There are so many things Wiki has done that the government...
These are all under executive orders, right? It's not through an act of parliament.
No. Yes. Can the governor of a state do what some of the things Wiki has done? I don't think that he can do some of the things he has done. The issue about aviation is a matter in the exclusive legislative list. And so Caverton doesn't need, you don't even need to know whether Caverton has a permit. It doesn't fall within the ambit of your powers as governor of a state. The only person that can ask about a permit is the federal government. But now, to make the federation work, I think these politicians should see how they can just come together. And because we are fighting a monster, COVID-19, the federal government and the federating units must be at par. They must work together as a team. We are supporting Lagos, you are not supporting Rivers State. I don't see the need for that. And if you're supporting Lagos State from federation accounts, I think the other federating states also should have a share, because our economy is locked down too. We are not doing business. So if you're giving something to Lagos, that's the economic angle you also address. The issue of the economics of this COVID-19 battle should also be addressed. If you gave 10 billion naira to Lagos, what are you giving to Rivers State? What are you giving to Akwa Ibom? After all, the reason why you're saying that the oil sector should also be open and work even when everything is closed is because you know that if you close the oil industry, this country cannot work. And so where the money is coming from, you need to consider them. But that's for the politicians to handle all of that. But the constitutional issues, how can you tell me that the man that has been, remanded for the so amount of days, that people are saying that he should be released in 4 hours? It is not done like that in a democracy. If you want the man to be released, bring an application to question what the lower court has done before a competent court of law. File an application before the high court.
Or they can withdraw the case.
Even when you withdraw the case, I'm afraid it's okay. You can seek a political solution. But I am asking you, is it possible for somebody to give a court ultimatum that, see, it is not This is a democracy.
Who is giving the court ultimatum?
They are giving the governor of Rivers State an ultimatum to bring a man that has been duly.
Yes, but that's within their rights too. They can't do that.
No,
It's
they
not the
can.
court. They can't.
What
Yes.
they can do
It's
is to get a
hold on.
lawyer.
It's just the same way we have ASU go on strike, and so unless you do this, we're dropping our.
The matters were not
Yes.
sub judice. The matters were not before a court of law.
That's what I'm saying. It is here. It was the governor that initiated this, so they're taking that stand, hoping that what the governor can do now is also withdraw that case from court.
When the matter is before a court of law, if you want your man out, they have a legal team. Let them go to court.
No, it's no longer. It's not supposed to be.
No,
Anyway,
but that's an option.
That's your position. Hold on,
That's an option.
and that's your position.
That's
Go
an
ahead.
option. But
I
we
need
can
to wrap
also
this up.
get a political solution to this crisis.
All right. Okay. What are your thoughts there? Let me get to Dr. Wale.
Well, I feel scared saying what I'm saying now because my first observation is that we're exposing the governor unduly to a lot of things. When you prompt a chief executive and allow him speak all the time, he will make mistakes.
That's true.
We're exposing the Governor Wike unnecessarily. These are the things the commissioner will speak. For example, will say, you fault it, and then they run to the governor. So, sir, we need you to intervene, and that's how politics is being
You're
played.
supposed to be there,
But
yeah.
every time you hear the governor at the top of his voice, bad management, bad advisors all the way. In this state, I know we have a Ministry of Aviation. Whether it's functioning or it's moribund, I don't know. But they're the ones that should be functioning, not the governor.
Minister of Aviation.
We should have.
No, the aviation is a matter in the exclusive.
We should have transport. We should have aviation.
No, aviation
No,
cannot be
transport.
exclusive.
Transport.
Aviation is exclusive.
Transport can decide to
They
wade
can do
in if they
aviation
want.
activities.
Yes.
Yes. But what I'm saying is that the exposure is very indecent. It's fatal. And it's becoming every day. You continue to quote the governor in bad light. And I think it's time for us to begin to look at institutions, having things in place. We're doing a lot of things like we are in Mami Market, where, one man will just run and crush things and do whatever he likes. So I'm scared. One day you just hear that the governor is quoted as saying one thing that will shock the whole nation. The issue of they are giving Lagos State this billion, they're not giving, is also as a result of bad advice. Somebody else should be speaking. We're going to set the states on fire one day with these are acts. So I'm worried. Look at now. Suddenly, those pilots are put in cell. What for?
Is it suddenly they went through the process?
It is hasty, Annie, if you ask me. Can't we dialogue? Can't we sort out things? And how long will the state engage a federal or a federation in a battle and put the interest of its people in jeopardy? We can't continue like this. I don't want to say more. But honestly, those who are surrounding my governor, His Excellency Ezebon Wike, should be careful. Any mistake the man makes, I don't know. It's only in this part of the world that you have all of these things going on. Well, I will sack all of them and bring in good heads who are calm, who will be able to help me build relationship instead of achieving enemies all the time.
All right.
Please, that's just my view for now.
Okay, we got your thoughts on that.
That's a cautious view.
He did say he's afraid.
Whichever hour you describe
I'm
it.
scared.
Good thinking.
I'm scared. Honestly.
Actually,
all right.
Continue to make enemies. You fight.
But I do have a problem with the fact that he went on to say, okay, look, Caverton helicopters, their business has been considered.
Local government chairman.
I think for me it's because of other businesses who are operational in River State. You want to make sure that at all times you're selling the idea that this is a haven for businesses. We're looking for businesses to plant themselves in River State. So there are plenty of other businesses who will see this and say, look, I would hate that if I have an issue with the government for anything, that this is how it ends up, that I now will be considered persona non grata, and that local governments can be ordered to frustrate my efforts. So it's a different thing if you have a problem with the government of the state, but that he's able to tell the local governments, well, this is what you will do going forward. So you're finding that this interpretation for plenty business owners and for businesses, they're very sensitive to the economy. So if for any reason I think I'm coming to invest my 300,000, 100,000 here, and I would not be able to make profits because this is the possibilities I have, I'll find the most plausible place to do that. And I don't think that this is the best thing for Rivers people. We're looking for businesses to flourish here. We're looking for how that these businesses can begin to engage Rivers people, who so many are unemployed out there looking for opportunities. So I think that sometimes when the governor needs to take this position, as much as he's passionate about Rivers people and ensuring that her safety is key, he should also understand that there's certain ways that you could do this democratically and still come out smelling like roses. He's not smelling like roses now. I'm not taking away the fact that Caverton too could have done so many wrongs in all of this here. Caverton should have also been able to present herself for whatever testing that she needed to do. I understand that all the other people who aboard that flight have already been. No, they're in now. They've been apprehended.
Yeah.
And they're locking them up.
The 10 of them.
The 10 of them. They provided the names of the people. It's not that they didn't. They brought, these are the people that were on flight with us, but for whatever reasons, they believe that there's something else that was going on. The governor insists that enemies of River State were trying to bring in people who were COVID-19 positive. The people who have been brought forward, the magistrate who presided over the case has said that they should go for testing and be locked up in a government-owned facility. Luckily, he didn't say this one should go to prison. It says they should go to a government-owned facility while testing is being done on them to ascertain their status. I think that would have been a smarter thing to do too with the pilots. Okay, fine. Let's check their status, and then there should be some sort of caution. We are not saying don't come into River State, but we're saying go through the needful. Each time you land or each time you bring new people, let's ascertain who these people are. This is a testing spot. This is that. And I think that is understandable. And this for me was just a drop in a teacup. But somehow they've roused it up to something that is taking dimensions that you ought not. So it's like a storm now in a teacup. The faster we're able to cover the lead on this teacup and quell the matters, the better for us, because this can really explode in different ways. Imagine if the aviation sector decides to do this, and then this, like we know, the workers are supposed to be with oil and gas. What if oil and gas workers decide, okay, we're taking a cue from this. This is also what we're going to do. It won't be the prettiest of pictures. So for both, and I don't understand why the Minister of Aviation is saying that the command chain here, the actions that they took here was undermining the authority of the president. I think that first of all, they were working with the chief security officer of the state. And if the chief security officer says, look, this has happened, I think that they don't need to call Abuja and ask the IG or ask their command chain there that, do I take this action? After all, we've already said as chief security officers, they should be in charge of security in their state. So if the governor had insisted that this is what he wanted to do, then they walk along those lines. If he says, look, this is a criminal act, investigate, I think they went along with that line. I don't understand why the Minister of Aviation, if I told that even is true, why should it be the Minister of Aviation who comes up with that sort of statements? A lot of things that you wonder why it's upended in on the bottom.
The failure of our federation.
All right, the phone lines are open. It's exactly 11:30. I'm going to open the phone lines. Do not forget that we've asked that you send us your thoughts. Send it to 07019339962 or that's text message and SMSs only to 07019339962, or you call us on 0817000951 or 0810951091. Don't forget that you can watch us live on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is Today95.1 FM. Click the live button. Don't forget to click on the subscribe button. And then you can tweet at us. Our Twitter handle is @TodayFM951. On Facebook, we are Today95.1 FM. That's simply search for Today95.1 FM on Facebook and then click on the like button. We'll get to your thoughts as you share them with us and continue to encourage conversations. Phone lines open now. I'll take that before I take text messages. Hello, Today 95.1 FM. Good morning. Do call back. I didn't hear anything on that end. 0810951091. Hello, Today 95.1 FM. Good morning.
Okay, good morning, Madam Annie.
Yes, morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Okay, Pastor Peter, a.k.a. God is the greatest.
All right, Pastor Peter, where are you calling from?
Yes, good morning to your panel of discussion. Yes.
Pastor Peter, where is your call from? Where are you making this call from?
Port Harcourt.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, firstly, I want to say that by my own observation, the governor of Rivers State is being, negatively being marketed by Rivers people. Because when we talk of a lot of things going on in Nigeria today, including the federal government, they have heard several ways on this issue of COVID-19. Just in Lagos, there, a couple was sentenced to 14 days of community service because they held an in-house party and they were meant to pay 100,000 and to pass through some things. And again, River State, it happens. And the governor took a step. Some people were like...
This is not the same thing. These are two different things entirely.
Yes, no, I'm coming. Just give me some time. And I've been following your program. Your commenters there, they totally slanted the governor and they nailed him on the head, condemned him. I don't know why. Who are the federal government?
Their position. So what is yours? Leave the position of those in the studio. What is your position?
My position is the governor is right in all that he has done, because federal government, you learn to respect at least the government, state government, because in the present situation, it shouldn't be by high and mighty. What we take federal government to allow yes to weaken on that is people are coming here. And the man took the right steps. We shouldn't just kill the governor. All he did is right.
All right, we got your thoughts. All right, then. Thank you very much. I don't think that in supporting any government at all means that you don't condemn them where you think actions taken are not in tandem with set rules or regulations or as to how you interpret them. I don't think so. So for anybody at all who must have condemned actions of the governor, I don't think the person just is doing that because they want to condemn the governor for sake of condemnation or because they want to bring anybody into brand lights. No. And the truth is that there are several people who are actually pro this government but do not like these actions. So you must understand, if there is a condemnation of any government, federal, it doesn't mean that you don't like that government or you don't like the person in charge. I would hate to see any government that doesn't even get criticized for actions they've taken. Hello, Today 95.1 FM. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. This is John from Rumo Elimini.
All right, John from Rumo Elimini. Good to have you. Go ahead.
Yes. You see, let me go, first of all talk on the helicopters. Helicopters, where they fly to? From Lagos, most helicopters cannot fly straight to River State. They fly to Subi, and then from Subi, come to River State. Now, the minister said that the helicopters are cleared, this and that. But I believe the commander of the Air Force Base. Hello?
Go ahead.
The commander of the Air Force Base and the police, the commissioner of police, the commissioner said that they don't have right to enter federal facility. But I'm telling the commissioner of police, the commissioner, minister of aviation, that the police have right to enter anywhere and arrest anybody. Now, the second point is the commander Air Force Base, I believe, is not aware of that flight landing in the Air Force Base. So, what the minister is saying is just saying on his own.
All right, then. Thank you very much. We got your thoughts on that. Good morning, Annie, Ogaima, and other guests in the studio. My name is Gift Anyangu from Iche. It takes a wise mind to decode the word of a crooked man. When have Rivers people become so dear to the governor when there is no employment, no promotions, and other entitlements due to workers? And mind him, who is the enemy of the state? Where was the governor in the case of Chima? It is said that those the gods want to kill first, they will make them. The governor is more the enemy of the state. Ogaima, please tell the governor that we, the Rivers people, are watching him. Well, Ogaima, they sent you a message. Hi, Annie. How many face masks, sanitizers, and ventilators did they produce for own use? Don't mind them. Micha, you sent that in from Owerri. I guess you mean the Chinese government and the medical team. And on the issue of pilots and suspension of flight to River State, and don't worry, they won't suspend it because these flights make so much money flying to River State. After all, we are here in River State where people were arrested and in a speed of light taken to court when some pleaded guilty and some said no. What did we do? Nigerians should stop this class value. After all, pilots are the same as Okada and Keke drivers. There is a pandemic, for God's sake. AB Gadgets, you send that in from Port Harcourt. Good morning. I'm Ernest from Woji, the same Nigerian who complained how they're stigmatized during Ebola period when they traveled to Europe because Ebola started in Africa today. We're doing the same to China. If this is not racism, I wonder what it is. Imagine River State Commissioner of Health saying they don't need Chinese medical doctor, but will be the first state to cry if it was loans that Chinese were giving. Chai. Ernest from Woji. Sunday Tuna from Akwaji says it's crystal clear that he who makes peaceful move impossible will also make violent moves inevitable. With my superficial knowledge in law, Governor Wike have acted unlawfully by declaring a Caverton helicopter's persona non grata in River State. Hence, the consequence of the government's action will snowball into a monumental economic crisis in River State. Good morning, Annie and the crew. The authorities here are the enemy, and they haven't asked for help. Why must you force it on them? Why denying them and the nation at large the opportunity to show them ourselves strong? We don't need China, please. Reverend Mike, you sent that in. Annie, aviation is in exclusive legislative list according to our panelists. Lives of rivers are in whose list, please? Okay, you sent that in from Port Harcourt. Annie, good morning. Governor Wike has not created any job for Rivers people. Why is he taking actions that will create more unemployment? Does he realize that thousands of people, Rivers people work there? And the only job in Rivers State today is task force. You will see able-bodied men running around and you say that's employment? No, it's a shame. Fanny Chukwuwodo, you send that in. Hello, Today 95.1 FM. Good morning.
Yeah, hi, Nani.
Morning, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Yeah, Mufasa is my name.
All right, Mufasa.
Calling from Port Harcourt.
Go ahead.
And morning to your guest. I personally also feel that the governor acted in error. I mean, we cannot begin to, run around these issues, okay? And we should also be notified that Caverton helicopter or airline, they're not the only people operating in the NAV base. We have Bristol, we have Aero and all other companies. So we could have as well shut down the entire, airline, operating at the airport, okay? So I expect the governor to be more circumspect in issues like this. You do not, in a hurry, try to, create unnecessary tension in the state. I'm sure that even the federal government is aware that if there is COVID-19, any case of COVID-19 in Rivers State, it simply means that nowhere in Nigeria is safe. So beginning to, say that there is a surreptitious move by some enemies of the state to sneak in people who have the virus into Rivers, I don't think that is logical, because if we have COVID-19 anywhere in Nigeria, nowhere in Nigeria is safe. So this issue of, trying to whip up unnecessary tension and sentiment and all of that is not going to take the state anywhere. So the government should tread with caution. We don't want this kind of tension as we speak right now.
All right, then.
The state is grappling with unemployment and all of that. So government should take it easy.
Okay, then, Mufasa. Thank you very much. I got your thoughts too. Hello, Today 95.1 FM. Good morning.
Hello, Annie.
Yes, good morning.
Good
morning. What's your name?
I'm Elise.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead, Noble.
I recall that action. One thing you don't feel you are.
Noble, I've got to let you go. The connection is not clear enough. I'm sorry about that, Noble. Do call back. Hello, Today 95.1 FM. Good morning.
Good morning, my sister.
Morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Imam. I'm calling from Woji.
Mano from Woji. Go ahead.
Yes, so in our previous discussion, it was on the Chinese doctors. Am I to comment on that, or I should?
Yes. On all the issues we've talked about this morning, apart from the newspaper review. Go ahead.
Okay. Yes, my sister, you can see, one thing, we like to play politics a lot in this country, and it's not taking us anywhere. I wonder why people should be justifying what common sense will tell you that this is. Even now, we have been containing this virus. China, imagine if it's in public domain, Chinese government said infected materials to UK government. All these things are still under investigation. But our own politicians here are running very fast to welcome these people to this country, which we know that we have a lot of reason not to invite them for now. If they want to advise us, they can. I like the words you said.
Hello.
But inviting these people here is not called for. The second on the issue of the Rivers State government, all these things are calling for decentralization of power. That is what even the governor is aware of that. If all the Nigeria has done, if you need radical governors like Wike, this country is not working. There is no way you will tell me that a minister of education can just sit in one hotel and tell flight to come in without even telling the Air Force base, which the Air Force are not aware, because if they are aware, they will not allow the policemen to come there and arrest those people. These people are feeling too careless. It's not good for, it's not called for. We are too big for all these things. People will come on air and be justifying, even some journalists. Watch Amechi's statement yesterday. Journalists were laughing. Very serious thing that they need to ask questions. What should we do to make this country? Every day, let's make Nigeria work. Why we know we don't want to make this nation work? What we, we are waiting for the outcome. After that's why people are dying in foods in many states, but the governor has no power to safeguard his citizens.
Hello, Today 95.1 FM. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm Kenneth calling from Orazi.
Kenneth from Orazi, go ahead.
Yeah, you know, our governor is a man that talks for the both side of his mouth. And, one thing, he's fighting, he's just like a cricket is fighting a lion. I don't know the length he want to put this state. And the problem will go through this state after this COVID-19. It will be a disaster. Please, people should advise him to deviate from this character. And this whole governor seat is not forever. These people should correct it very well. Thank you.
All right, got your thoughts there. Hi, Annie and the Quest crew. Does it take 100 million naira to build a test lab or more when, till date, we can have up to 36 test labs or more in Nigeria? And must the Office of the Accountant General of Nigeria be on fire? Because, well, that's not what we're talking about today. So we got your thoughts, though. This is from Living Spring, from Ruma Masi. Hi, Annie and the Quest crew. Would it have been out of place if the governor alerted the federal government of the credible intelligence report he got about the plots of supposed enemies of the state? Are oil workers not classified as essential service providers even in River State? The federal government should be very careful. Overthrow of government is a possibility. This romance with security operatives may be dangerous. Thanks, Thornton. You sent this in Port Harcourt, which was one of the points that we talked about, I think, yesterday when we said essential services. It's the same thing too when you're having lockdowns in places like Lagos, where it's a complete lockdown, and in Port Harcourt, in Abuja, where it's a complete lockdown, but for only essential services. And the idea is that during that period, if you're essential service, you can move around. And while they're moving around, nobody's going around and stopping and asking you, who are you? Because they believe for you to move around, you must be on essential services. And even if you do stop at certain checkpoints, you just indicate that you're essential services and you proceed. I think that that's the same thing too with aviation sector. When they were giving a waiver for oil and gas, it is estimated that when you have flights coming in like this, that you expect that they have the waiver. They're the ones who are allowed to go in and out of states and take certain personnel who are considered of essential service. So I think that what will have been best is that what do we have at the airport? Is it the manifest to be able to trace people who came in and who went out? Is that supposed to be given to a team on board who are doing tracing? Then yes. But that you think each time they come in that you must have them go through testing again and then confirm that they're COVID-19 free before they move on, then that's not essential services anymore. You've denied them the opportunity to go about their businesses, which is supposed to be of essence. That's why they're called essential service. Thought it though. Thank you, Annie, and all those in the studio. I agree to you all. What the governor is doing is jack of all trades and master of none. Instead of focusing on administration and how to better our lots in River State, he's chasing shadows and leaving the substance by always fighting the federal government, thereby putting us in bad light. George Mika, you sent that in. Hello, Annie. The coming of Chinese doctors to help the Nigerian doctors combat COVID-19 is a wrong one because the Nigerian doctors are not in need of any foreign aid. My question is, does this aid attach with any conditionalities? Because I know the Chinese government are capitalists in nature. Nothing goes for nothing. Well, Annie, the Dodge by NMA over the coming of the Chinese is a good one. And if we say that these Chinese are professionals, they should undergo the medical exam to prove that before this will become a gambit. Nigerian doctors corset the COVID-19 victims. Good justice from Iche. All right. Annie and the House, I greet you. The truth is Governor Wike is actually proactive, but too forward in taking decisions without reviewing its later effect. Like your last speaker always said, always at the top of his voice. And the governor, for crying out loud, he's got media aids. He should be the last resort. In all, I see a political undertone playing because from the federal government, which Rivers State government uncovered and wants its own share. This is from Gift in Port Harcourt. Good morning, Annie and the guests. If you see how bunkering are being carried out by federal mites, all the sides of Rivers, nobody challenged them. This is we're not talking about that today. Last week, federal government told us that international communities are expecting Nigeria to collapse under the weight of COVID-19. Today, we have Chinese doctors in Nigeria to assist. Are these doctors not part of the international communities? Let federal government also bring in Chinese soldiers to assist in dealing with Boko Haram boys. This is from 2 Timothy in Port Harcourt. To act on exclusive legislative list on the order of a state governor without the consent of the federal government summons to usurp in the powers of the federal government. If a security officer does so without the consent of the superior authority, also amounts to gross indiscipline and conscious disobedience to authority. Emi Fiahaga, you sent that in. So what the police officers did here had nothing to do with the aviation particularly.
No.
Which is on the exclusive list, right? But on whether these people did break a particular law here in River State, that is supposed to be something that the police officers can interfere in. I don't think that what they did was stop a particular flight from coming, which is on the exclusive list when it comes to aviation. Well, Emmy, we got your thoughts there. Annie, I tell you the truth, these aviation companies are really aware the illegality of what they're doing. Otherwise, Bristol won't be flying at night. Precisely at the 6th of April 2020 at about 6 p.m. from Ajib Terminal. Why wouldn't they fly at night? Is there anything that says don't fly at night? Hello, Today 95.1 FM. Good morning. Hello. All right, I can't make out what you're saying. Please do call back. Annie asked Governor Wike if he's the only governor in Nigeria and only PDP governor. He should tread with caution. And I have another here. He says, Annie, good morning. Now that the battle line has been drawn, let us watch as the events unfold. And where did Governor Wike derive his power from to stop these people from operating in River State? For service chiefs in River State, their name is sorry. This is Comrade Nana Jehu from Afara Iche. Which is what I want to get. Let me get, does he have, though, can he say, look, Caverton don't operate in River State?
He doesn't. He can't do that.
Why?
Okay. Caverton is a Nigerian citizen registered under Nigerian law.
Simple.
You cannot stop any Nigerian from operating in any part of Nigeria.
I don't get it. But when, as the state
first, let us take it from the outset. What law did Caverton break? If it is the Quarantine Act, then it should be tested. I'm still within my right. If it is the Quarantine Act, then it should be the federal government to prosecute it. The state government cannot prosecute it. If it is an alleged order made by the Rivers State government, that order does not in any way metamorphose into law. The courts have heard severally that an order of a state governor does not metamorphose into a law.
All right,
the Rivers State House Assembly has not passed any law that quarantine has broken.
Let's take this. Yes, we can hear you. Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Good morning, Annie. My name is Amusi Chima. I'm calling from Port Harcourt.
Amusi Chima, go ahead.
Yes, Annie, the actions of the governor is indeed a disservice to this state. I don't know what the governor wants. Does the governor have phobia or allergic to an improvement that you are declaring personal non grata to a company to have sons, river sons and daughters that maybe work there to make the ends meet? I think this is wrong, honestly. In the past, over the year, about 5 years now, the governor has been unable to employ persons, even when he promised to employ about 10,000 people in civil service. We are yet to see anyone being employed. Hey, you are declaring non grata to a company where some river people work. I think the governor should have a rethink and make peace with federal government to see how this issue can be on the doctors coming from Chinese. Let us tell ourselves the truth. And it would be a national pride if Nigeria gets itself rid of coronavirus without seeking help from the Chinese. Honestly, the national pride is at stake here. You understand? And I want to say that there's more to this. Before, I will tell you that those doctors might be found in the house of some politician who does not have confidence in Nigerian doctors. That is all what the plan is all about. So I think that it is wrong for you to bring a doctor from Chinese when we have doctors here in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
All right, then, got your thoughts there. Thank you. This here says, Annie, does River State have a testing facility? No, it doesn't. Caverton operates from NAF base. Every COVID-19 tests are done outside River State. Is the governor ready for this? For me, we haven't seen the last of this drama. This is from Kingsley. And this is, the governor has been demarketing the state based on his own personal interest. Caverton Helicopters has been operational in the state for the past 7 days. And there was no arrest. Just because the federal government has played down offering the governor his 10 billion naira share. Now, Governor Wike is acting based on the scripture that says the kingdom of God suffereth violence, but the violent taketh it by force. So the game is on. I pray the aviation ministry go on strike so we all travel by road. This is from Mr. Ezekiel Fada from LMA. Governor Wike shouldn't hide under the guise of protecting Rivers people in this affront against the federal government. His persona non grata declaration of the company is unlawful. He should for once swallow his pride and rescind his decision because the attendant consequences will be suicidal. Ransom from Usokun Degemai send this in. Wike this, Wike that. Government of Lagos State tried and convicted Jennifer and Co. People clapped. But anything Wike does raises dust. Is Wike an outcast? Haba. And this is what happens to the suspension of a governor by the president for disobeying orders. This governor likes to suspend local government chairmen against the laws of the country and court pronouncements. Oyao, President Buhari, do your work. This is from Ima. Governor Wike is too political. Rivers people should continue to endure his acts until he steps aside. John from Iguruta. And another here says, Governor Wike is demarketing River State. He's chasing away businesses in River State. Let him be cautious in sensitive matters like this. I'm ashamed of his actions. John. Annie, good morning. Annie, where are the elders in River State now that Governor Wike is directly looking for federal government's trouble? When it will start, they will target a river son in Abuja. Yanga, they sleep. Trouble, they go wake up. Obina, you send that in from Orazi. Hello, Today 95.1 FM. Good morning.
Hello, Annie.
Morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Lawson. I'm calling from Yenagua.
Lawson, go ahead.
You know, Annie, sometimes I wonder those people, who are those really advising the River State governor? Seriously. Because I don't understand, really. Because most of the things I see him do, it makes me feel that he doesn't really have good advisors. You understand? Who is the Attorney General of River State? What's his name? And allowing a governor to go into this kind of action without advising him, the governor is completely out of line. Or every action he has taken, he has no power to take them. And yet, as for the service chiefs, I expect them to know better. Really, to have taken this kind of action, well, I don't know. It's really unfortunate, but I think the governor should sack all his advisors and get better advisors because they are not doing him any good at all. And as for the Chinese doctors, I don't know. In Nigeria, we like to waste money. But Annie, I tell you, I think somebody somewhere is trying to make some money out of this country to capitalize on the bad situation. But it's really unfortunate because we are not overwhelmed. So why are they coming? What are they coming to do? Are they bringing vaccine? Are they bringing any kind of treatment? So
medical aid. Medical aid. They are bringing medical aid and expertise.
And those now understand something, medical aid and expertise. Are we really overwhelmed? Is the question.
So should we get there? We should wait. We should wait till we're overwhelmed. We should wait. And you know, I hope you know that in waiting to get into that point, that means people should die first. Then we now say, come.
How many have we lost?
One life is good enough. One life is good enough. One life is good enough.
Now, if you compare the way the virus is killing people, other places, especially in Europe, I think you should praise Nigeria.
Well, we don't want to get there. Lawson, thank you. We don't want to get there. I don't think this takes away the praise for Nigerian doctors. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it takes away the praise.
See what 15 specialists can do.
All right. This issue of coveting and River State government is just a moment, please. Now, thank you very much, gentlemen. The issue of coveting and River State government is a simple matter to solve, but ego and might have come to play. The federal government have the rights to issue flight movement. Very okay, no problem about that. But will the passengers and its crew members remain in the premises forever? Won't they associate in one way or the other with things in River State, considering the fact that COVID-19 can survive in dry surfaces for a long time, will still affect someone who comes in contact with it? The governor has the constitutional powers to protect Rivers people, and he's acted appropriately within his powers. This is from Williams. And good day, Annie. Annie, man, others in the studio. Okay, Nonya, I think I read your text message, so I'll just skip that. Annie and the crew, hi. Please, can the setting on fire of Treasury House? Nope, it's not what we're talking about today. Good morning, Annie. On the issue of Rivers State Governor Caverton, I will tell you that the governor is on a vendetta. I have studied this governor since his first term and I understand how he acts whenever he feels he's at a disadvantage or his personal interest is threatened. Although the federal government should have liaised and carried along the state authorities on their arrangements with those aviation companies, yet the Rivers governor should have acted more circumspectively. This is a cold without, so I don't understand what you mean by that. Moreover, grave injustice is being done to those innocent pilots. They did not authorize the flight. Thank you, Kenny. You send that in from Port Harcourt, which is where really my heart lies with those pilots. They just carried on with an order. That's what they did, pretty much. Good morning, Annie. The other day on this platform, we complained of how President Buhari is not talking over serious issues of the nation, rather his aides. Now we're saying Governor Wike is always talking over serious issues of the state instead of his aides. I hope we're not contradicting ourselves at this junction. Let's give it a thought again, Chidi. I think there's balance in everything. There's a balance. There's a point where you expect that you speak up, and there's a point when you also allow your aides to speak, and that's what we seek to strike. So you can't have too little of any. For the federal government, too little of the president in issues that needs to be championed by him, and in River State, too much of the governor's presence in issues that ought to be championed by others. And this here says the governor is the chief security officer of the state, and his first priority is to save and serve his state at all times. So whatever the federation wants to do, they should consult the governor. Opaka Dokubo is being diplomatic in his analysis of the matter being discussed. He knows very well where the blame lies, but he's afraid to criticize Wiki on air. Sorry, this person knows Opaka. I don't know, personality. Is he from China? Well, he says the federal government has exclusive jurisdiction of land borders, aviation, and security. Unfortunately, the police commissioner and Air Force base commander may have to pay dearly for this. I suspect that that's what might happen. You know, especially with the Minister of Aviation already saying that. I just hope that they're not going to make them pay for. They just carried on the actions of the chief security officer of the state. I hate that they will need to punish this too for something totally avoidable. Annie, good morning. Those hailing the governor are just kids or dysfunctional literates who are, according to late Dr. Chuba or Kadibo, cannot reason with beyond petty sentiments. If this action is taken, it will affect the economy of the state, thereby benefiting Akwa Ibom. Aviation industry is an easy way of generating passive income for the state. The governor should stop creating an atmosphere where businesses can strive, considering the high unemployment rate in the state. He's now the one demarketing the state. People are now fed by their parents will applaud this. Ifangi Chukungodo, you sent that in. But we've got to wrap up here. It's almost top of the hour 12, where we'll be hooking up with this newsroom for the world news. But in the interim, Emmanuel, I'll allow you to just wrap up. Before then, precious UDK Esquire, member, Nigerian Bar Association, Port Harcourt branch, Port Harcourt-based legal practitioner. Thank you so much for coming to the studio this morning. All right. Opaka Dokubo, former chairman, NUJ River State. Thank you so much for coming in. And then Dr. Williams Arugo. Thank you so much, from the Department of Business Law, River State University. Thank you so much. And Dr. Wale, totally appreciate the way you barged in here and took over. Thank you so much for coming into the studio this morning. All right, Emmanuel.
Well, for NMA, I certainly believe that I have no issues with Chinese coming. They are coming to render help, whether they like it or not. Let them also accept that help. For River State, Governor, I don't think you have that power of saying, describing this person non grata, because they are Nigerians in the first place and established business in Nigeria.
Merci beaucoup, Emmanuel. I can't speak Mandarin, but you will have to accept this French. This is where we wrap up on the show. I'll see you again tomorrow to make it a date. Entertainment Express. Unfortunately, I apologize. I took that. News comes up. Kalada is already hovering behind my head. He'll be taking that in just a moment.
got you covered. On air, online, delivering balance. Whether it's happening in Port Harcourt, South South, Nigeria, or around the world, we've got you covered. On air, online, delivering balanced news and unbiased analysis. Today, 95.1 FM.
This is Today, 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. News.
Good afternoon. This is the world news at noon on your premium talk radio. Today, 95.1 FM Port Harcourt. I am Kala Da Kurubatubo. Before the headlines, remember to always wash your hands regularly with soap. Have with you at all times alcohol-based hand sanitizers and observe social distancing if you can. Please do stay at home. And now the headlines. Airline operators of Nigeria threatens to boycott flights into Rivers State for 3 months following a remand of 2 pilots. Defense headquarters converts Navy Hospital Borokiri to treatment center for COVID-19 in Port Harcourt. Confirmed cases of coronavirus surges to nearly 300 in Nigeria. On the foreign scene, World Health Organization moves to unite China and United States to stop spread of coronavirus. Stay tuned for the news and details. The federal government has said the Air Force commander in Port Harcourt who invited the Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike to arrest coveting helicopter pilots, the police commissioner who accompanied Governor Wike, and the military commander who all collaborated with the governor usurped the authority of the commander-in-chief, President Muhammadu Buhari. Minister of Aviation Adi Sirika said this in reaction to the arrest, prosecution and remand of 2 pilots, Samuel Buhari and Samuel Ugoji, while briefing newsmen in Abuja. Sirika said the service commanders who acted in gross disobedience to the president exhibited dangerous ignorance and gross incompetence. Sirika said while necessary approvals were given to Caverton to fly, the aviation sector is on the exclusive list and Governor Wike had no right to enter the premises of Caverton to make arrests.
Civil aviation is on exclusive list. Item number 3 there. So no other person but the federal government has authority to legislate upon. So also the Nigeria Air Force, part of armed forces, is also on exclusive list. There's no other person but the federal government that has the legal right to legislate upon. So the Air Force officer who jumped the commander-in-chief and ignored, who also jumped the chief of defense staff and ignored, who jumped the chief of air staff and ignored, to call a governor to come into the property of the federal government belonging to the Nigeria Air Force to make an arrest has exhibited dangerous ignorance and incompetence grossly. So the police that followed the governor also to go in there has also exhibited dangerous ignorance from our perspective in civil aviation. Whether we gave approval for the flight, yes we did, and we did in national interest. All of those flights are for the purposes of improving the national revenue, to which Rivers State is the greatest beneficiary.
The Minister of Aviation, Adi Sirika, also said the federal government will take all legal measures to secure the release of the jailed pilots, adding that Caverton and other cleared airlines will continue their operation.
So those flights by Caverton, by Aero Contractors, by ARIC, by Bristol and couple more were for national interest and improved national revenue. At a time when oil has gone below $30 and the cost of production is $30, in the wisdom of President Muhammadu Buhari, he thought that this be allowed, even in this national pandemic, so that the nation will not be crippled and national revenue will not be lost. It's against this background that we have the authority, and being it exclusively on the exclusive list, and we have the powers in civil aviation, guided by Civil Aviation Act 2006, approved such flights. So those flights were approved lawfully, legally, and correct. So, yes, we will do everything lawful and legal and reasonable to get those pilots back, and the operations will continue in national interest. Thank you.
Chief Magistrate D.D. Madwenyi of a magistrate court in Port Harcourt remanded the two pilots of coveting helicopters after they were charged on 4 counts of disobedience to lawful order for violating the executive order of the River State Governor, Nyesom Wike. The two pilots, Samuel Ugoji and Samuel Buhari, will remain in prison custody till May 19, 2020, when their trial will commence. In a swift reaction, the River State government has declared coveting helicopters persona non grata in the state for endangering the lives of Rivers people by what it said is a suspicious operation. Governor Nyesom Wike, in a media address, directed local government council chairmen to close the offices of coveting helicopters across the state. Governor Wike said his administration appreciates the need to protect business interests and operations in the state, and it will do whatever that is required to ensure that no business is unduly affected by the measures the state have taken to combat the coronavirus. He said with his declaration, coveting helicopters can only choose to operate in any part of River State at his own risk, as local government chairmen have been directed to close their offices and prevent their operations. Governor Wike said that the highly insensitive and provocative actions of coveting helicopters took place in the midst of credible intelligence reports about plans by enemies of the state to traffic carriers of the dreaded coronavirus into the state.
While federal agency reserve the right to issue flight permits to airline operators to fly into River State, we insist that the state government must equally be informed and taken into confidence in the process. This is the only way to avoid suspicion, conflicts of interest, and unnecessary bickering between the state and federal government in our collective efforts to combat the spread of COVID-19 in the country. COVID-19 in River State is a matter of life and death, and we will never succumb to any blackmail from any person, institution, or authority in our determination to protect our citizens and our state from the spread of this deadly virus. Coveting helicopters have clearly shown that rivers' lives do not matter to it. It is an enemy of rivers people, as hereby declared persona non grata in River State. Coveting helicopters can only choose to operate in any part of River State at its own risk, as local government council chairmen have been directed to close their offices and prevent their operations.
Meanwhile, the Chief Magistrate Court in Port Harcourt has ordered the remand of 10 passengers who flew into Port Harcourt on board a coveting helicopter. Chief Magistrate D.D. Madwenyi, in his ruling, said the action of the defendants who were arraigned on 4-count charge was in contravention of paragraph 8 of the executive order of River State government. The defendants who pleaded not guilty to a 4-count charge against them were ordered to be remanded at any government facility to enable medical personnel from the state carry out tests to determine their coronavirus status. The prosecution team was led by the Attorney General of the state and Commissioner for Justice, Zacchaeus Adanga. The suspects were arrested at the Air Force Base Port Harcourt after the River State Police Command received intelligence on what they described as illegal flight into the state. The aviation sector in River State may be worse if the state government fails to release the 2 pilots of coveting helicopters remanded by Chief Magistrate Court in Port Harcourt. This is because the Air Operations of Nigeria, AON, has threatened to stop all flight operations to River State for 3 months if the remanded pilots of coveting helicopters are not released by Governor Nyesom Wike. The airline operators of Nigeria, in a statement, condemned the action of the state government, which they considered very unlawful in the face of the fact that the airline had secured all necessary approvals from the Ministry of Aviation and the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority for the flight in line with the protocols for exemption of essential flights as issued by the federal government. AON, in the statement signed by its chairman, Captain Nogie Megison, frowned at the action and demanded the immediate and unconditional release of the 2 pilots, with all purported charges dropped so that they can go back to their families for the Easter holidays and return to their jobs. Megacin, however, threatened that if the River State government fails to release the pilots within 24 hours, all airlines in the country will be forced to boycott all scheduled and unscheduled commercial and private flight operations, including oil and gas offshore flight services into Port Harcourt for a period of 3 months. Governor Nyesom Wike, while declaring the shutdown of coveting, in his address yesterday, said that the actions of coveting helicopters was highly insensitive and provocative and took place in the midst of credible intelligence reports about plans by those he termed enemies of the state to traffic carriers of the dreaded coronavirus into River State. The Navy Hospital Burukeri, Port Harcourt, and the Nigerian Navy Hospital Owerinta have all been converted to treatment centers for coronavirus. This is according to the Defense Headquarters during a media briefing in Abuja. The Defense Headquarters said that the Nigerian Armed Forces has deployed 80 personnel from its medical corps to all COVID-19 treatment and isolation centers across the country. Director, Defense Media Operation Major General John Enechie, while briefing newsmen, also indicated that the DHQ has provided 3 additional treatments and isolation centers of its own. The controversies rocking the kingship stool of Ndani community in Agba Agbema Ndani local government area of Rivers State may soon become a thing of the past, as elders of the area have promised to ensure that a new king emerges soon. This follows an assurance by the elders of the area about their resolve to enthrone genuine traditional standard practice in line with the selection process of installing a new king. The leader and Opala Uku of Ndani community, Elder John Esumie, gave the assurance during a meeting with the elders, women and youths in Ndani. In a statement issued by Matthew Osai, who is media advisor to the Opala Uku, Esumie was quoted as saying that adequate consultations have been made over the move and expressed confidence that a kingship committee that will soon be set up, which would comprise people with records of proven integrity. Also speaking, chairman of the Ndani Council of Chiefs, I Chief Emmanuel Akpono, reaffirmed the position of the council towards supporting the efforts of the Okpala Uku leadership to ensure that a credible aspirant emerged as a king, while warning those attempting to beat the drum of war in the community to trade with caution. You're listening to the World News at noon on Today 95.1 FM, Voice of the People. After this break, more news, foreign and sports stories. Do stay tuned.
Every day, every hour, when the big stories break, depend on our 24-hour news team to bring you the latest. Today, 95.1 FM.
95.1 FM, Voice of the People.
And we're back.
All right, thank you for staying tuned to the World News at noon and Today 95.1 FM, Voice of the People. Remember to wash your hands regularly with soap every 20 seconds. Always have with you at all times alcohol-based hand sanitizers, and do well to observe social distancing. If you can, stay at home. Allow me to bring you the rest of the bulletin now. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has confirmed 22 new cases of the novel coronavirus in the country. This brings the total number of infections in the country to 276. According to the NCDC, out of the 22 new cases recorded, 15 are in Lagos, 4 in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, and 2 are in Bauchi, while the other is in Edo State. A breakdown of the cases in each of the states shows that Lagos now has 145 cases, the FCT 54, Osun 20, Edo 12, Oyo 11, Bauchi 8, Akwa Ibom and Kaduna 5 each, 4 in Ogun, 2 each in Enugu, Ekiti, Kwara, and River State, while Ondo, Benue, Katsina, and Delta States have 1 case each. Further information reveals 44 cases have been discharged, while 6 deaths have been recorded. The Nigerian Center for Disease Control says it is planning to incorporate several medical associations in Nigeria into the fight against COVID-19 in the country. The Director General of the NCDC, Dr. Chikoye Ekwezu, made the disclosure at the briefing of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 in Abuja. Ekwezu also commended all health workers in the country who have been at the front line in the fight against the virus, while also thanking their families for the support they have provided for them in the course of their job.
We're now planning to engage with the professional associations, the Nigerian Medical Association, Association of Resident Doctors of Nigeria, the Medical and Dental Council, the Nurses Organization, the Medical Lab Scientists Association of Nigeria, to make sure all the professional groups are well integrated into our thinking about the response. So I want to end by saying we really appreciate all the work our healthcare workers are doing across the country. But I also want to appreciate their families, because their families are really those that will worry the most every time the nurse goes out or the doctor goes out to work in the morning, whether they'll come back with something home. So they really need the support of their families. And I really want to
commend all the families out there that provide the psychological and mental support to their partners, their children, their parents that go out every morning to work in healthcare facilities.
The 15-man medical team from China has arrived at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. The team arrived in Nigeria in a chartered Air Peace aircraft yesterday with tons of medical supplies to check the coronavirus in Nigeria. They are expected to assist Nigeria in efforts to contain the COVID-19 pandemic. Minister of Health, Osage Anire, was in company of other officials to receive the medical team despite opposition by the Nigerian Medical Association. Now, on the foreign scene, the World Health Organization, WHO, has urged the United States and China to join forces to fight the coronavirus pandemic. WHO Chief Tedros Ghebreyesus made the call during a virtual briefing in Geneva following criticism from U.S. President Donald Trump that the UN health body was China-centric. WHO said there would be many more body bags without international unity, adding that the United States and China should come together and fight the dangerous enemy, coronavirus. Elsewhere, almost 2,000 deaths of coronavirus was recorded in the United States for the second day in a row. This is according to a tally by Johns Hopkins University. The U.S. death toll has now exceeded that of Spain, which has suffered 14,555 deaths. To end the news, here is the summary of the major stories. Airline operators of Nigeria, AON, have threatened to boycott flights into Rivers State for 3 months following the remand of 2 pilots. The defense headquarters has converted the Navy Hospital in Borokiri to a treatment center for COVID-19 in Port Harcourt. Confirmed cases of coronavirus has increased to nearly 300 in Nigeria as Lagos remains epicenter of the virus. On the foreign scene, you heard that the World Health Organization has moved to unite China and the United States to stop the spread of coronavirus. That was the news as edited by Victor Iziama. For comments and inquiries, please call 0815-341-8657 or 0814-434-3502. Send your emails to news@todayfmlive.com. You can also read our stories on www.todayfmlive.com. I am Kala Dakobatable. Stay tuned. Interesting programs lined up for your listening pleasure. And do have yourself a wonderful afternoon.
Today's news, today's entertainment, today's sports, today's issues. Today on Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt.
Are you in search of a place to do all your audio recordings? From jingle